We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
Thank you, Saina. Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to the Awakening Together weekly gathering today. It's lovely to be back here and to see all of you. Thank you. So, the statement of purpose of Awakening Together is: we are an assembly of equals, joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self. Within an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. The core value that I've chosen for today's homily is core value 4. We affirm one true self as the only truth. We live this value by embracing what is helpful on the path of awakening without idolizing any spiritual doctrine as truth. The song that I've chosen for our opening song is The Prayer by Omkara and Gautama, with lyrics by Mooji. Saina, can you play that song for us, please? Thank you. Thank you. I love that song. It's a beautiful song. For the invocation today, I want to invite Virginia Allen to sing it to us. It's taken from Thoughts of Awakening, number 250 and 251. Thanks so much for agreeing to do this, Ginny.
So I've been singing the chants. They were a way for me to let them embed and to make them a better part of my day. And I've been sharing that with our study group. And it's really been marvelous for me. And they seem to be appreciating it. So pardon my voice a little bit. I'm getting over a cold. And I'm going to use my pitch pipe to get my pitch. But this is all without any accompaniment. Listen unto the heart, observe the perfect peace and stillness, no knowledge there. The head makes confusion, and the heart delivers a corrective response. As the head quiets, the heart is also still. Stillness is the natural state of both. In stillness, separation does not exist. Stillness is within, under layers of not still. Are you ready to let go of not still with me? Listen unto your heart. Observe its perfect peace and stillness, no knowledge there. Stillness is the natural state of both. In stillness, separation does not exist.
Thank you so much, Ginny. Thank you. As Ginny mentioned, we have been blessed in our gentle healing group this year to have these wonderful chants that Ginny has done every day. And it's been so helpful for reviewing and keeping the thought of awakening with us. I think all of the members of the Gentle Healing 2 group have those chants in their head all day. So thank you so much for doing that, Ginny. It's so appreciated. And Ginny has another job because she is my reader for today as well. The reading that I've chosen is from N.T.I. James, and Ginny's going to read chapters 1 and 2 for us.
I'll start again. N.T.I. James, chapter 1. Greetings, my beloved. Trust is your bedrock. I ask you to hold to trust in all things. Trust the healing process, for it brings to you that which is best for your healing. Trust it and accept it in joy. Trust your own mind, for it does know the true desire of your heart, and it will rest, that your true desire may be practiced. Trust yourself, for it is one, and in its true purpose is only one. There is no division within yourself. There is only the illusion of division. Illusion is nothing at all. Trust is the bedrock of your faith. For what you trust in, you also put your faith in. Trust and faith are inseparable. Do not look at your false self and the circumstances of the world, putting faith and trust, which may seem like fear, in those circumstances. To do this is to put faith in illusion. With faith placed in illusion, illusion is what you shall see and experience. This is not the experience of your joy, because this is not what you truly want. Put faith in your truth by trusting your true desire. Listen within, with true desire as your focus. In this way you shall know what to do. Put all of your trust in what you hear, and your faith is given back to yourself. Blessed is the man who perseveres under trial means, blessed are you who remember to use all things to practice the true desire of your heart. For with practice and focus, your true desire stands clear within your sight until the naturalness of your being is as natural in your awareness as true desire is now in the quiet of your heart. God is the truth within you. It does not tempt. God is. But God can be denied through your desire to do so. Do not be unaware of this desire. It is there within your mind, but it is a false desire that lingers from a moment of the past. In your weariness, you follow it in habit, but in your alertness, you remember to place this worn-out desire aside. Do not deny your truth, because it does not change. In your denial, you misunderstand what you do, and you experience your misunderstanding in unhappiness. My dear brothers, take note of this and store it in your mind and heart. Be quick to listen to the true desire of the heart, and you are quick to realize the joy of your truth. Your truth is joy. So whenever you are not joyful, you are misunderstanding what you are. Do not merely listen to my words without practicing what I say. To listen, but not to practice, is to be like a man who looks in the mirror, but then goes away and forgets what he saw. Remember that which you see as you listen to me. Practice it with your every breath, and you do remember the truth of what you are. Know thyself. This is your only purpose. Hold tight to your purpose. Let go of everything that is not of this purpose, and to your purpose, you are true. N.T.I. James, chapter 2. I have said that you are the leader of your own awakening, but the one who leads you to awakening does not select and judge based on many ways that seem to be within the world. The one who leads selects and judges not, so that he accepts and follows the path he has already laid out for himself. The many ways of the world are distractions for you. To be caught up in them is to be caught up in the world. This is not the path to awakening. You are the leader of your own awakening through the spirit that does not desire the ways of the world, but humbly desires freedom from those ways. And so it does not reach out to the world, but it watches and accepts, knowing and trusting that the path it is on is its own path to enlightenment, because the path that is being walked is the path it has already chosen and given to itself. Do not worry that you shall make a mistake. Worry that you could make a mistake comes from the belief that you are a mistake, which is also the belief that you are sin. This is but a misunderstanding regarding what you are. You can recognize this misunderstanding by your lack of joy. You cannot mistake because you are perfect and whole and in communication now. All thoughts are shared. There has never been a moment of not sharing. Therefore, your true desire is known, and its path is being given to you just as you have asked. There can be no mistake in the oneness that you are. Misperception is your greatest enemy, because misperception tells you that all is as it is not. But this is not a sin, it is only an error, and all error can be corrected. Look well within your mind and see your misperceptions. See also that you have put your trust in them, so that even as you walk this path, which you have chosen for yourself, you do not see the path, and so you misperceive. It is your misperception that causes you to suffer. Have mercy on yourself by being willing to surrender your misperceptions for the light of your own awakening. You are standing and walking your way because this is the way you have chosen. Trust in yourself and your leadership, and you will see the value and joy in all things. Relax unto yourself and lay aside your worries. They struggle against the true desire of your heart, and so they are not helpful. Abraham is the symbol of the birth of the awareness of light within your mind. With this birth came the willingness of true desire, and with this willingness came the plan for how true desire shall be fulfilled within the mind that is one. This is the plan you selected with that first awareness of light. Look ahead in optimism and faith. The plan has already been laid out for you. Walk this path in trust. Leave your misperceptions behind. You rise above your misperceptions of yourself because your misperceptions are your dream. By letting go of what you think you are and where you are, believe your choices to be, you let go of all that is false. And then you walk peacefully, without misperception, the path you have given yourself for your own awakening from dreams.
Thank you, Ginny. Thank you so much for reading that. So I have to say that I've known for quite a while that I was going to be doing the homily today, and every time I kind of tuned in and thought, what's it to be about? I was just coming up blank. And then in Gentle Healing 2, we got to NTI James, and that thing happens that always happens to me. I sometimes think I'm turning into a tuning fork because as we started to read James, I was going, and I thought, this is it. This is the one. This is where the homily needs to be based. So it opens, NTI James chapter 1 opens with, trust is your bedrock. And I like to go and look in the dictionary to find out exactly what these words mean. And in the dictionary, it says, bedrock is solid rock underlying loose deposits such as soil. And that reminded me of the old Sunday school song, you know, the wise man built his house upon the rock. And the other definition was, it is the fundamental principles on which something is based. And so I started to ponder. This seems to be really important in my journey at the moment. What do I know? What is my direct experience? Not what I've heard from another teacher or I've read in a book, but what is my own experience? So this has been, for me, preparing for this homily has been like taking my spiritual temperature, if that makes any sense. Because we are exposed to a lot of teachers and teachings, and the thing that I've learned and I'm learning continually is to always go back to inner wisdom and to look for that tuning fork moment that signals to me that there's something here for me. There's something that is resonating and is the next part on my path. And that's what the core value today that I chose today says. It says that we live this value by embracing what is helpful on the path of awakening without idolizing any spiritual doctrine as truth. And I love how I was encouraged to do that over and over again in the MPP program as well. So this is how I approached the study of NTI James. Initially, I asked Ginny if she could read the whole book, but it was going to take too long. So we picked out chapters 1 and 2. So the first thing that it says is trust the healing process. And I love as well the emphasis on how we are the leader of our awakening, and that we have already, and by you in that reading, I think it's talking about the capital S self, but we have already chosen the path to our awakening, and now we're following it. And all sorts of things can occur. And for myself, I've had two really big, since I started reading this, I've had two really big things that have happened that are kind of opposite ends of the scale in terms of occurrences. One of them was when I was kicked in the shins by my 4-year-old grandson and told in no uncertain terms that the reason he did that is because I'm not his favourite granny. What really surprised me was how much beliefs that I really believed had been released and healed roared to the surface. I would say that my primary core wound, the belief that my version of the I am bad belief is nobody loves me really. They kind of pretend they like me, but not really. And that belief, hearing out of the innocent little voice who was just trying to get a reaction from his granny because she wouldn't let him watch television, that came roaring up. And I know enough now to know that this is part of the healing process, that this is exactly what I need for my awakening. because everything that happens to us is exactly what we need for our awakening. But what I noticed was, although all of that roared up and I felt that familiar feeling of my heart sinking, all the doubts starting to swirl around, there wasn't all that much time before I cottoned on. And I was able to go, I know what's happening here. This is nothing to do with favourite grannies and 4-year-old grandsons who have learned how to kick. This is a gift. And so it was a gift, because it enabled me to go back to look at things that I thought had been released, to allow the feelings, to practice rest, accept, trust, to journal it out as I always do, and to be grateful for the opportunity rather than to go back into the feelings of rejection and hurt and all of that stuff, all that old stuff. And I could see that there was a choice there. There was an opportunity there. And there was an opportunity to meet it with joy, rather than, as has often happened in the past, to beat myself up because I'm not there yet. That another phrase that runs through this mind. So the second thing that NTI James says to trust is to trust your own mind, for it does know the true desire of your heart, and it will rest that your true desire may be practiced. And I first learned about true desire or spiritual aspiration from Adyshanti's book, The Way of Liberation. And I love the phrase that he uses in this book. He says in that little section, clarify your aspiration. As your realization and spiritual maturity deepen, you will find that some aspects of your aspiration remain steadfast, while others evolve to reflect what is relevant to your current level of insight. By reflecting on and clarifying the issues relevant to your current level of understanding, you stay focused on the cutting edge of your own unfolding. I just love that phrase, on the cutting edge of your own unfolding. And I love that connection that everything that's happening is an opportunity for us to meet it with joy, to meet it with the knowing that this is part of the healing process, and my guiding light is my spiritual aspiration, and I meet everything that happens with that spiritual aspiration at the forefront. And for me, the spiritual aspiration has changed and changed and changed and changed. And at the moment, I kind of see, I'm a visual learner, so I like to kind of see things, visualize things and draw pictures and things. And my current spiritual aspiration is 3 circles. And in the center of the circle, it says, be you. And on the left, it says, be still. And on the right, it says, be love. And the realization that I had when I was thinking about the be you aspect, be as you are, be yourself, be the true self, all of that stuff. When I was contemplating that, I had this sudden realization, I suppose, that everything that is real, everything that is unchanging, unaffected, is not Susan. And I kind of, this phrase, not Susan, just really struck with me, because the other side of that is everything that is called Susan, and you can use your own name for this. everything that is your name is all the conditioning, is all the, even your very name was given to you. You could equally have been given another name or changed your name. All the beliefs, all the conditioning, all the habits, everything, all that stuff, all that body, mind, personality stuff is Susan. But all of that stuff is changing and changing and changing and morphing and is not fixed and real. So I realized that I could define everything else as not Susan. And that has just become so, Siri's agreeing with me here. It just started to play. That phrase, not Susan, has clarified something for me in a way that thinking, I am awareness, I am consciousness, the self. It's just made it more, I can see now what is the ego, to use one term, and everything that is not that, everything that is not Susan, is what is real and is what is starting to, not even starting to, that's not the right word, but that is what is living this temporary manifestation called Susan. And what that feels like, so that's the be you part of my spiritual aspiration, to be that. The you is not Susan, the you's not Susan. And the felt sense of that sinking into that, those are not even the right words either, but that knowing of that fits that felt sense of be still. Because it's unchanging, it's unaffected, as all the Susan stuff kind of carries on. And this has been something else that feels new. So I said there were two different things that happened. And the second one was when I was interviewing a British spiritual teacher, I don't know if you're aware of him, called Tom Das, for the Awareness podcast. And during the podcast, I was, interviewing, being professional, asking him all about himself. But the tuning fork happened in the middle of the interview when I asked him a question. I asked him, I don't even remember the words, but it was how he would point to his true nature, how he would point out my true nature was the gist of it. I don't remember the exact words, but what I do remember is as he was giving me the answer, the tuning fork happened in my body. And I wasn't satisfied. Something in me was not satisfied with the answer he was giving me because it felt as though he was talking around the question. And I wanted to know. It was almost like this is the most important thing that could ever happen. I need to hear this answer. And so I had to take off my podcast host hat and disclose that something in me, something here is resonating with something over there, and I need to know. This feels so important. And I got really emotional and vulnerable, and I thought, this is to do with not Susan. There's something here, there's something I felt on the brink of, I'm going to see something that I've never seen before. And that happened. Something happened in the interaction, in this energy that was coming through. Again, not the right words, coming through the screen, but it was in a Zoom situation like this, and yet there was a real resonance. There was something palpable that we both felt. He felt it too. But the point of telling you all of this big story is I had a realization that was so familiar It was so new and yet so familiar. And it just was a sense of when I was, I don't even know what age, tiny, tiny, tiny little girl, that I knew that, I knew this, I knew the felt sense of the true self. But somehow Susan got created on the top of it from all her conditioning and all her education and spiritual education as well. But underneath all of that, there was this something, I don't know the word. So I'm just calling it not Susan, because I don't know the word to adequately describe it. There was this not Susan that was there prior to Susan, always. And that's what I realized too, that even in the moments and the years when I was as far away from a spiritual path as it was possible to be, that not Susan, that sense, that self, that reality was always there, always there. And it was that had led every single step of the way. Susan's mind thought, when I'm being a good girl and I'm on my spiritual path and I'm doing my meditation and I'm blah, 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 whatever, I happened to be doing, going to church when I was a Christian, meditating when I was a Buddhist, all the paths that I've been on, there was always still that thing, Susan's conditioning, type A Susan, good girl, good student, gets all the right answers. But underneath all of that, always, that. And it's just coming to me. What did Nisargadatta say? I am that. So that was always, always, always there. Always there. Always guiding, showing. That is the leader of our awakening, that is laying out the path in front of us. And how do we know? Because somehow, how does it become, I was going to say there, because there is joy, but there wasn't always joy. Is that the awakening process, that we wake up to the joy of it, to the identification with it, and with that identification, we happily let go of all the conditioning and the false self. I feel that the joy is always there, but it was covered up. It was covered up by all the rest of it, by everything that made up the Susan character. And a funny sidebar is, about 5 years ago, I set up a Facebook group to do with my coaching business called Be You. I didn't mean that. Didn't mean any of this. I just meant, working with women who wanted to be more fully themselves, who had burned out like I had. And it just feels like such a cosmic joke almost that this part knew before Susan did. It knew. It was leading. It was leading constantly. And I was following along, doing things that I didn't even realize the importance of. I mean, one of the biggest surprises to me was that I would even be here, an ordained minister at Awakening Together. So, what I invite you to reflect on is your spiritual aspiration current? Are you living on the cutting edge of your own unfolding? And as N.T.I. James says, and I'll formulate this as a question, do you trust yourself? For it is one, and its true purpose is only one. Do you trust that it is the self that's living your life, that's breathing you, that's unfolding the path in front of you? That the realist part of you is not your name? Close your eyes for a moment. And go to yourself. And notice if those words even make sense. Notice your breath being breathed. You are being breathed. Your heart is beating without your conscious involvement. The blood is circulating around the body. The stillness, the peace, the joy is right here. And as you open your eyes again, know that the self is gazing through your eyes, and it's gazing back through the eyes of everyone else. One self. It's one being gazing at itself through us. And isn't that what Namaste means? The title of this is Namaste, no mistake. When we say Namaste to each other, we're saying the divinity in me sees and greets the divinity in you. And what a spiritual practice that is, to live that in every moment. What would it be to live our lives as an endless namaste? I don't see Ginny or George or Patty or Jacqueline or Joe or any of the names. I see God. And the Namaste, no mistake, came from Byron Katie's 1,000 Names for Joy. People, when she woke up, people used to come to her door and say, she said they put their palms together and they bowed and said Namaste. And she said nobody in Barstow, the little desert town she came from, spoke like that. So she thought they were just saying, no mistake, no mistake, no mistake. And isn't that the truth? Everything is for our healing. Everything is for our awakening. Everything is reminding us of Namaste, no mistake. NTI James chapter 2 says, the path it is on is its own path to enlightenment, because the path that is being walked is the path it has already chosen and given to itself. Your true desire is known, and its path is being given to you just as you have asked. There can be no mistake in the oneness that you are. So I just want to end by reading you one of my poems. My book is actually called An Endless Namaste. And this is called There Is Only One. There is only one, not many, not even two. Say a silent namaste to everyone you meet. Know the inner prompts as infinite intelligence, impersonal. Give up all labels and grand ideas. Swim in the ocean of love, and not even that. Swimming happens, and it is known by no one. Fall silent as the Namaste blooms everywhere. Thank you. And thank you all for your lovely comments in the chat. Does anyone have any questions or anything they would like to share or say? Judy, please.
What a beautiful homily, and thank you so much, Susan, for everything that you shared. And Ginny, your singing and reading is just touches my heart and brought tears to my eyes. So it's an emotional morning for me all around, and seeing all these lovely faces. And I have Susan's book at my bedside. And last night before I went to bed, the poem I read was the one that she said just now. And so I just absolutely love that. And I have tons of stickers in my NTI book. And of all things, the chapter you read, Ginny, has your very post-it note that you sent me on the pages that you read. So it was meant to be that I was here to listen to the two of you this morning. Absolutely loved it. Thank you so much. And no mistake. No mistake.
I was going to say that. Namaste, no mistake. Thank you, Judy. Christy, please. Sorry, Sign, I'm taking over your job here.
Thank you so much. Everything about the service this morning was so deeply inspirational, and I want to thank both you and Ginny for the beautiful reading. And you said so many profound things this morning, and what I'm taking home with me now is, where am I living from? Am I living from the self? You made a statement about that, and seeing that in myself and seeing that in others. When I live from that place, I don't need to know anything else or do anything else. I only need to be that. So thank you for that beautiful message. Namaste.
It's just, it's kind of funny. You'd asked if there's anything else to add, and all I kept coming up with was, it would just be a match on a fire. So, but you know what? Sometimes that's what you got, is a match on the fire. So thank you. It was beautiful.
Thank you, John. Karim, please.
Okay, my jewel and what I'm holding on to, which is really what I've been kind of feeling, but you said it and I'm keeping it, is trust the healing process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karine just reminded me of the jewel. The takeaway for me was when you said Adyshanti's words, the cutting edge of your own awakening. And what hit me when you said that is, and that isn't always comfortable. That doesn't always feel so good, or that feels scary, that feels shaky. And your words, maybe the tuning fork you feel there's something there. And, recently many of us were in Regina's retreat on designing a retreat, and that didn't feel so comfortable for me, right? I was on maybe the cutting edge of my own awakening, and I certainly felt some things that shifted and opened up. And you just spoke of that so beautifully. And then trusting your own inner pull to speak to Tom Das about that and push through, and being vulnerable on a podcast like that, and then coming here and sharing that. So thank you again.
Thank you. Yeah, it reminds me of, in the Buddhist tradition, they talk about walking the razor's edge. It's the same concept, isn't it, of being at that cutting edge. And I could imagine walking along a razor's edge is not that comfortable. So I'd like to, Rhoda, before I say the last bit.
Good morning. Good morning. First of all, I just appreciate so much the way in which you approach this homily. It brought a freedom and a creative expression that just lights up here. I feel that as my own tuning fork when I hear the creative expression of another, and just brought in so many beautiful ways, from the chant to the music, to the reading of your poetry at the end, to the words that you spoke. I had not heard the tuning fork reference before. And that feels very helpful in describing the difference between when inner guidance is actually being noticed and followed versus when it is not. Very, very helpful for me, because it is vibrational in the way that it feels internally and expresses in the body. So that for me is really, I've heard it said before, it's really helpful to get articulate in the language of what it is that we are experiencing in this awakening. And so every new expression that helps to better articulate that, because even if words are symbols, the words can be very, very, very helpful. So thank you for bringing that language, that tuning fork language, because it resonates as a tuning fork does. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Rhoda. Thank you. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming today and for your love and support. I'm so, so blessed to be part of Awakening Together. It's all my life I looked for a tribe, for a home, for a place where I could be fully myself and belong, and it sure is with you guys. So thank you so much for that. And thank you, Ginny, for your singing and your reading, not just today, but the singing that you do for us every day. I noticed Regina said on the chat that she'd like to get these recorded, so I'm going to keep that in my head. And I've chosen as the very last song today, Let It Be Easy by Karen Drucker. Thank you, everyone.
Been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.